Hey everybody, I'm Natalie Bencivenga, host of 5 Minutes With. And this week I have the honor of having Lisa Schroeder. She is the president and CEO of the Pittsburgh Foundation here with me. And I have a few fun facts about the foundation. This is the 15th largest community foundation in the country and the second largest grant-making foundation in our region, awarding $67 million last year. And a little fun fact about Lisa, she is the first woman to lead this region's largest community foundation. So thank you so much for being with me, Lisa.
I'm so thrilled. It's great to see you again from years at River Life, and thank you for having me. I had the great luck to move to Pittsburgh in 2000, just as the River Life Task Force was starting. And then I had the honor of leading the River Life organization for 15 years. Our job was to implement the community's vision for the riverfronts, which had been created through 120 meetings. And what we needed to do was to make it a reality. So we mobilized multiple multi-million-dollar capital projects in order to open up the riverfronts for public access, which was a frontier idea at the time because they had been occupied by industry for 100 years. So I went to Baltimore after River Life. I went to Baltimore, which is my hometown, to take care of my parents, and was leading the Parks and People Foundation when Freddie Gray was killed and the city erupted in riots and demonstrations. And what we mobilized, again, to invest in communities, to make sure that all neighborhoods, and especially neighborhoods that were disinvested due to a history of racism, had safe, beautiful, open green space to enjoy. And that's what we were doing full force when I got a call about the Pittsburgh Foundation opportunity. And it was an amazing opportunity that filled me with excitement and humility. And so I'm just so thrilled to be here. I will complete my second year in June.
That's incredible. And you've had quite a tumultuous start to your tenure with the foundation, considering you started and then bam, we were hit by COVID pretty hard. So being an innovator and being a visionary, what was your first initial reaction, and how did you guys sort of turn on a dime, so to speak, to address the immediate needs of the Pittsburgh communities?
You're so right. It was a shock. And we were receiving information from the County Department of Health and data about the staggering needs that were rolling over the country and our region, of course. And I called my colleagues. One of the wonderful things about Pittsburgh is that foundations work together. I called my colleagues at the Heinz Endowments and the Henry Hillman Foundations and the Richard King Mellon Foundation to talk about what we could do and should do. And what we decided was that we needed to move fast and we needed to make a bold statement of support. So we each contributed $1 million, and that was the beginning of the Emergency Action Fund, which ultimately has raised $10 million to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations and government agencies in providing all of those frontline needs: food distribution, COVID testing, PPE, quarantine space, the arts, childcare. And we knew that we could get out to these organizations providing critical needs faster than the public support could get there. So it proved really that while foundations can't solve all of the region's needs, we can work strategically with the public sector to make things happen.
Was there anything that surprised you along the way? Any needs that you weren't expecting that were going to need addressed, or the way in which you worked on this that was sort of like, wow, I didn't see that coming?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so proud of our team, because at the same time that we were working on raising support, we were also moving all of our operations off-site. So what really surprised me was how fast we could actually do our grant making. We developed streamlined practices, and we ultimately evolved 4 funds. In addition to the Emergency Action Fund, there's a fund for racial justice and a Corona Relief Virus Fund and a critical needs alert. And so we discovered that we could liberate ourselves from some of the time-honored processes of grant proposals, and just get out there with our partners as fast as possible.
When I hear you talk, I find you so fascinating because to me, you seem like a true servant leader, someone that really believes in the spirit of collaboration to get things done. What kind of leadership style, though, do you think you employ?
Well, thank you. I like to think of it that way. I am, not just a business leader, but I'm a daughter and a mother, and now a grandmother. And I love to think that women have amazing talents for being shepherds. And I have always found that progress comes when you bring people together to solve a problem or to reach a big dream, and that ultimately the dream and the work itself is what will rise. And I do believe that the secret is to have as many people be able to take pride in accomplishment as possible.
I love that. You just gave me pause. I think that's gives me the chills. That's absolutely beautiful because I think if let's rise all together, that spirit of togetherness. I think that's fantastic. And so as we're wrapping this up, although I could spend hours, I think, listening to all of your pearls of wisdom, Lisa, I was curious, it being Women's History Month and looking back at this incredible career that you've had, what advice would you have given to your younger self, 20, 30 years ago? Because I think a lot of younger female leaders have a sense of sort of imposter syndrome where they're not really sure that they're ready or that they deserve or that they should. So, what advice would you have given yourself now knowing where you've landed?
Oh, I appreciate the question because, of course, I have colleagues, young women colleagues, and two daughters too, and I've thought a lot about what would I have done. I would love to relieve our young leaders of the worry about what will happen and whether the pieces will fall into place. I do believe that a long-term outcome and focus on the eventual goals at the end of the day will lead to success. And the more people that are involved, the more that the resources will come. All leaders of nonprofits are fearful of what will happen with their revenue in the future, and that's a natural business practice. But faith in the end really will take the day. And I also think it's not important to be at the top of the page or the front of the room all the time. Have faith that at the end of the day, that when things happen, when things change, when people feel part of it, that's the vision that will rise to the top, and the record of achievement.
That's amazing. I feel like that's the secret in the sauce right there, what you just said. Lisa, I so appreciate you and admire what you do for the Pittsburgh area and community, and of course, the region surrounding it. And thank you so much for spending 5 minutes with me.